There you have it.
There
Okay,
you go.
so I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:02. Shall we have the Pledge of Allegiance first?
Michelle.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and at this time, we will take a motion to elect a chair pro tem to run the meeting in Dan's absence.
I move to elect trustee Armstrong as chair for this meeting.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, take it away.
Okay, so first off is our minutes. I'll need a motion in a second to approve the minutes from November 3rd, 2025 Village Board and the November 10th, 2025 Village Board, and to file the June 4th, 2025 Community Development Authority, the October 14th, 2025 Public Safety Committee, and the October 13th, 2025 Board of Public Works minutes as presented.
Motion to approve and file.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Changes? Nothing? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes have passed. Persons requesting to be heard, I don't have a list, I don't think anybody's signed in.
Can I just say something during public comment?
I think you have to go down to there as a
As a
resident.
resident, not
That's
as a
fine.
trustee.
Sounds good to me. Just took off my trustee hat there.
And of course, state your name and your address for the record.
Hello, this is Sarah Scarpace. I live at 1244 Audubon Avenue here in the Village of Grafton. And I just wanted to say during public comment, a big hearty congratulations to the Village of Grafton's public school district's girls volleyball team on making it all the way to state. I don't know if you guys saw the game last week, but it's incredible. They pushed to 3 games. They made it. In that third set, they pushed for 4 additional points before unfortunately losing, but they came in second place in state. They had never done that before. It was outstanding to see. So congratulations to our varsity girls volleyball team at the high school. Additionally, I'd also like to say good luck to the boys football team. Grafton has a boys football team going to state this Friday. And last but not least, a hearty congratulations to the robotics team at John Lawn Middle School for also bringing in a couple awards at their state competition. So congratulations to our students. I think we should be very proud as a village board of our future, the future here. It's going strong here, our residents that are doing well in athletics and academics. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to business presented by the president, which I don't have anything, but so we'll move on to resolutions and ordinances, our action items. First one is the ordinance amending chapter 2.18.020, village administrator appointment, term of office and removal. Do I need a motion, or do you want to talk about it first? And
I'll do whatever you want. If you like, I can
if you want
talk
to
about
introduce
it first,
then-
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. As you know, this week is an important date for us. We're going to be having candidate interviews. It's been an extensive process, and the board has invested deeply in the selection of your next village administrator. As part of the process of preparing for this interview and the candidates, we've also done a review of the ordinances regarding the village administrator, and if there are any needs or opportunities to make some improvements that will help us in the recruitment process and help us in the management process or recognize changes in the profession. And indeed, there is one. A review of the current ordinance indicates, as noted in your information sheet, that the village board, in order to appoint the next village administrator, must do so by a 2/3 majority of the board. However, if you find yourself in the unfortunate circumstance of having to remove the village administrator, that takes a simple majority. So what is proposed to you tonight is to have the appointment process and the majority required be the same as the termination portion. The staff comments, you'll see some rationale for that. So first of all, that's very simply to help the village recruit and retain better candidates. This is a two-way street. I think the board is well aware that the competitive marketplace is significant. You have 4 really strong candidates, which speaks to the village, it speaks to the recruitment process. But you will put yourself in a better position of successfully getting the candidate if you want, if you have this higher standard required for termination. Second of all, it's just a matter of good public policy. If you have a higher bar relative to appointment, you should use that same bar if there needs to be the unfortunate circumstance of removal. It just seems incongruent to have these 2 different levels. The third is, and I think we're all aware, the job of a village administrator is getting harder. The job of the elected official is getting harder. So what you want to make sure is that the village administrator feels able to lead with confidence, with security, with long-term thinking, and they will have a bravery relative to the position that a greater majority requirement would provide. And lastly, it's not without precedence. While it's not the common practice, certainly if you look at statute and you look at other places, it is found. So it's not as if we're breaking brand new ground. So that is why tonight we're recommending to you modifying the ordinance for the village administrator position to remove the words majority and insert the words 2/3 into the ordinance. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, I'll take a motion and a second to approve the ordinance as presented. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Kevin?
Yeah, I am wondering about the idea of putting this to a 2/3 majority because I am seeing more places around here actually having just a simple majority for both cases. So I'm wondering, would it be more beneficial to us to have it both be a simple majority rather than a 2/3 majority?
That's a very good question, and as a past candidate for jobs, let me give you my perspective. If you are given a job offer by just a majority, I wouldn't advise anyone to take the job. If it's a 4-3 vote, short of not having other ability to get jobs, that is really a rough way to come into a new job. You know, generally speaking, you want to have it be unanimous. Maybe if there's some special circumstance, if there's a 7-member board, a 6-1, if the 1 can be explained, or a 5-2. If it's down to a 4-3, that is a lot of jeopardy to be taking. You know, many of these people have families they're supporting. Some of them may have to relocate. I think the 2/3 majority is really important in terms of the selection of your next, and really in terms of the board, you want to be that together on an appointment. You don't want to have a 4-3 split in selecting a position like this. So I would highly recommend you not do a simple majority for the appointment, but have that higher bar so that there's unity on the board, there's a clear message to the candidate, and they're going to feel strong going in, even if it's not a guarantee of it being unanimous. That's my thoughts.
Please. Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Hi. A couple of things. First, just looking at the ordinance, right, written for the Village of Grafton for appointment, term of office, and removal, right? Our municipal code really lacks a lot for just in verbiage and description of it. There's really not a whole lot on the public record for this ordinance. And so that's a concern right off the bat for me is I just feel like there's some unanswered questions in the verbiage of the ordinance itself for this. I would agree that there is inconsistencies with having a 2/3 on the front end and a majority vote on the back end. However, I feel that the 2/3 vote coming into this is a little sharp. It's a little steep. And if the state standard, right, in the state of Wisconsin is a majority vote, to me, the keeping it consistent and congruent would be having that simple majority vote on the front end and the back end. In a perfect world, would we love to have a unanimous vote for a hire? Absolutely. In reality, that's not always going to happen when we're hiring and making decisions as a board. It's not. That shouldn't reflect poorly on whoever gets voted in, whether it's 4, 3, 5, 2, you name it. I would say to that person, even if they get a 4-3 vote, I would still encourage that shouldn't deter them. They still got hired. It doesn't matter by health and of a margin. And that concept on the back end too, I don't want to, because this ordinance isn't just for the current board, it is for future boards many years down the road. I don't want us to paint our municipality into a corner by having a majority vote necessary to have something done. Also, I would like to see, in going back to my first comment of this ordinance itself is lacking some information. I understand that we have a contract for our village administrator, but there's parts to their appointment, their term of office, and their removal. For example, if they have a review every year, a yearly review, I feel as a taxpayer, right, because that's my tax paying money to employ this person, I think it would be important to have that as a third part, right, of the verbiage in this ordinance to say this person has a yearly review, because that's under the umbrella of this ordinance of hiring, appointing, removal, right, is including the fact that they do get reviews. So with that said, I'm not really comfortable on doing a steep 2/3 vote on the back end and the front end, because yes, it would be great to have a unanimous vote when hiring, but in reality, we may not have that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would encourage whoever gets hired, whether it's by a unanimous vote or a 4-3 or a 5-2 or 6-1 or whatever the odds are, they should still be ready to take that role by the horns and jump in head on. And please prove those people who voted against them, prove them wrong. Prove them wrong and come in and do the best job you possibly can as a village administrator. But I think a 2/3 vote is very sharp, and if that's not what the majority of other municipalities are doing in the state of Wisconsin, personally, that to me seems very heavy for us to administer. So I would like to see maybe this come back to us with some more fleshed out verbiage in this ordinance and a majority vote, a simple majority vote on front and back end. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Anybody else?
Can I respond?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
So relative to the language length, the less language, the more freedom you have as a board. This position is going to be at will. So that means you don't need to have things in detail concerning this position. I would imagine that the contract you're going to be offering is going to have language that says they will be reviewed every year. So that's something that will be in the contract, a very typical thing. You don't typically see things like annual review in an ordinance. You really want the ordinance to be broad, but you want the ordinance to be clear. Secondly, if you put yourself in the shoes of a person who's going to take this position, it's a public position. It is not like most other jobs. You are you are in the fishbowl, and to receive an offer with just a simple majority, short of being without work or being at great jeopardy, I think the village of Grafton is a great place, but that is such a difficult signal to send, that you're going not from a 2/3 majority, but to a simple majority. You're really going the opposite way that I'm recommending in terms of getting the best candidate. I think that would be a fatal mistake in the recruitment process to go from a 2/3 majority to appoint to a simple majority. You're creating a position where the board's unity is at greater risk with a majority than it is with two. This is the most important decision you all will make in your elected careers, to pick the next leader for the village. So 2/3 to appoint, I think that's just essential. It's common language. 2/3 to remove. If there's a situation and it's clear, you're not going to have a problem dealing with that. But unfortunately, it is a politically risky position. And many a professional have been removed for not cause, but for reasons that are not cause related. The area you might want to think about if the majority does not support the 2/3 is the areas that are not for cause are of particular concern for your next village administrator. For cause, obviously I can list and Jonathan can list all those things throughout. They're well worn in personnel management. The not for cause is where you have the greatest concern as a candidate and as a person who sits in this job. Coming to be a new village administrator is a big deal, and removing the next village administrator is a big deal. You should want a higher bar, and it will help you keep, retain, and give strength to the next village administrator, which is, from what I've read in the material, is what both you, the board, and the employees and the community really want to have. So I really advise that this would be a best practice. This would be a powerful signal going into Friday's meeting that you're giving us confidence. And that's why we're bringing it forth this time.
Lisa?
So I believe the current ordinance, is that from 1998? Is that how long we've had that?
Looks to be, yes.
Okay, so we've probably done that a number of times, well, maybe not, maybe only twice.
You've had only three
Yeah.
administrators in 50 years, which is pretty remarkable.
Yeah. I agree with some of the things you're saying, but I think it's important to go with the state statute, with the simple majority vote. We vote simple majority vote on most of the things that we do in the village. We authorize the budget. We authorize, major changes in how we run the village with the simple majority vote. I don't ever see, and again, I could be wrong, but I think when the board chooses somebody new, I feel like this time anyway, we have such good candidates. I don't see that would ever get to that point where, there's going to be a problem. But I think I agree that it should be simple majority in the beginning and a simple majority on the end point, which is not the motion.
Also, I just,
Wait. Do you want to reply to that? Or no? Have you
I
said?
think my previous comments
Yeah.
addressed
Okay.
that. Yeah.
We'll move down here first. Thank you.
thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to say, we're in the middle of this process. I cannot fathom a single candidate who we are considering that right now threw their hat in the ring for the sole concept of a majority vote. So to write an ordinance out with it, to have to approach it of, well, this looks good for incoming people. Come in and do your job. Come in and yes, this is a risky job they're applying for. That's just strictly business, my guy. That's just strictly business. I really don't feel that this should be put to such a high, a tougher hoop to jump through, when as there are other things that we approve as a board, right? Finances, all this other stuff that comes out as a simple majority vote. But the concept of approaching this like, well, this looks good coming up with Friday and having candidates come in, that's not the sole reason why you should vote that in, and I'm not comfortable with that. And I don't think that anybody who's applied for this job, who's currently one of our final candidates, is sitting here banking on the concept of 2/3. That math doesn't math for me. That reasoning behind this doesn't match.
Thank you.
Just to be clear, that's not the sole reason. So
Sure.
in the IFC is for stated reasons. And I think you ought to consider these 4 stated reasons, not, there isn't any commitment to the candidates that we're gonna do this. There hasn't been any request from the candidates that we're gonna do this. But if you're asking, how can the village best position yourself for strong leadership, confident leadership, competitive leadership? Remember, this is 2 sides of this equation. There's a person who's going to decide on whether to stake their career, their reputation, and sometimes selling a home, moving their family. They have to weigh those things, and this will give the candidate better ability to make a strong decision that hopefully will be of mutually beneficial to both Grafton and the candidate.
Okay. Any further comments or questions? Kevin.
One last one. So I'm going back over the Village of Thienville's appointment of their current village administrator, and it does have in their resolution some details about how they want to do their termination policies. Is that something that is more akin to like the negotiation process rather than having it written into it right now?
Correct.
Okay, can we leave that then to the negotiation process rather than putting it in our ordinances right now?
I guess that'd be a legal question. If you have a majority requirement in your ordinance, can you insert into the contract the 2/3 requirement? I don't know, the ordinance, yeah, I didn't think so either.
Okay.
Ordinance usually is a stronger, between a contract and an ordinance, you do want to be consistent.
All right, yeah, because I'm just looking at their current one. They do have a 2 separate sections, one for with cause and one without
Yeah.
cause, where their with cause is at a simple majority and their without cause is at the 2/3.
And I think that's the one area where, while I'm advocating for this, I think that is a good distinction to consider. So if in the end, I value unity of the board. I mean, that is so important that you all are just unified together, working together, thinking together. I think the most important distinction is, well, I think it should be 2/3 for all, is the not for cause. Those are the tough spots. The for cause, that's legal. I mean, you got serious situations. So if you wanted to amend it to say it is removal at any time by 2/3 majority of the village board for cause and majority, I'm sorry, I'm flipping it around. Not for cause, 2/3 majority for not for cause and simple majority for cause. I think that's a fair middle ground position that distinguishes between the cause and not for cause situation.
Okay.
I mean, I really do agree. If it's for cause, which means you got evidence and you got basis and they're in trouble. That's one thing. But I think not for cause would be the area to really preserve the 2/3.
Lisa.
So what would an example of that be then? If if an administrator says that they want to leave, I mean, what would we be voting on not for cause?
Well, let's think about some various situations. So let's just say the administrator used the credit card for personal reasons. Well, that would be a for cause. termination. That would be the evidence, that would be for cause. Let's just say the board decided that the candidate or the village administrator just no longer suits them. So that'd be more not for cause. So, and there's a whole body of legal definitions and well-worn legal precedent and statements about what for cause termination, and Jonathan can certainly regale you on that. But for cause and not for cause are really clear standards where village administrators or city managers get the most at jeopardy is the not for cause, which are sort of the soft parts of the job.
Okay, anybody else? All right, all those in favor approving the ordinance amendment, ordinance amending chapter 2.18.020, village administrator appointment, term of office, and removal of the Grafton Municipal Code, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, the nays have it, it is not passed.
Is there a willingness to make a counter motion relative to the sort of compromise concepts we discussed?
Sure, I'll make the counter motion. So to have it read that the ordinance would.
Wait, oh, Jonathan?
Yeah, sorry, so at this point, the motion's been decided, there wasn't a motion to amend while the motion was before the body, so if someone who voted no wants to bring a motion to reconsider, and then we can get it amended, fine. If there just wants to be direction to staff to make, an amendment and bring it back before the board at its next body so it can be properly noticed in final form, we could do that as well. But just my concern is there's been action, there's so really there is no such thing as a counter motion at this point.
I probably shouldn't say counter, and it's really not a motion to reconsider, it would be a new motion.
Right, but the problem is there's nothing noticed on the agenda now with that.
Well, this item is on the agenda.
No, I understand that. I'm saying because the final action has been taken, we'd have to have a motion to reconsider to get it parliamentarily back.
Well, reconsideration is reconsidering the previous approval.
Right, in this case, it would be the previous denial, and then someone could make the motion to amend.
Even if it's a new motion, I've seen it with boards all the time where there's a motion, it doesn't succeed, and then a new motion is created and it isn't considered a reconsideration, it's considered a new motion because it's on the same subject, but it has different terms and conditions.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable advising the board to do that because I get the topic is on the agenda, but what was on the agenda was the specific ordinance before it. So again, I think there can be motions to amend that. So.
Well, I don't hear that coming from a nay vote.
Well, right, I'm figuring out how to word it. I'm like, I would make a motion to reconsider the vote on ordinance amending chapter 2.18.020 to adjust the verbiage in the ordinance.
I think that's fine. That's fine.
To bring back to us to reconsider at a later time.
Sure, that's fine.
I'll second that, to bring it back.
So now,
Okay,
see
now
if
we
there's
need to
any,
vote.
see if there's any
Okay, we do.
discussion on that motion to bring it back.
Okay, do we have any discussion on that motion that's in front of us here? To
Bring it back.
bring it back with different verbiage in the motion or the ordinance, and then electing or hiring our village administrator.
So when it comes back, can we have it come back with different options? A or B? It sounds like we talked about two things here tonight. We talked about simple majority on the top and the bottom, and we talked about the other item that,
For cause and not for cause.
yeah.
Any other discussion? Okay, so again, all those in favor of approving the,
Can I just
yes,
make one point? I just want to make, just make you fully aware. So if you want the option to bring this back to a majority to appoint, that is, again, you're on tape. That's going to be a consideration for your successful candidate, that there's potential that the ordinance might be diminished compared to the way it is right now. And guess what? I'm just asking to be better from a lot of perspectives. If you said option A is keep it the way it is, option B is segregate for cause and not for cause. If you add option C, which is drop the 2/3 majority for appointment to a majority for appointment, frankly, I think you're sending some signals of regression. So I just want you to think about the direction. We'll give you whatever options you want. I would respectfully advise either retain the current language or look at the cause and not for cause separation. But if you look at reducing it to a majority vote for appointment, I think that's sending a very different signal.
Lisa?
So I would just ask that we have a choice of those three options. Again, we vote every day, majority vote on many things in the village. I don't think that it'll ever get to that, but I think that those three options should be considered.
Andy?
I have a concern about going back and visiting it again. My perspective of this is the ordinance is written the way it is written. And any of our candidates that reviewed this ordinance would have seen how it is written, the existing ordinance is there. And it seems to me that we're moving the goalposts in the middle of the game at this point in time. So if you worded the language stronger and saying 2/3 majority to dismiss, that's fine. But then, to me, it has a shade of we're changing the language in the middle of the game. Once we get a new village administrator on board, perhaps we should revisit the entire ordinance in the sense of either strengthening the language to say 2/3, 2/3, or to put in cause, not cause, those types of things, once that person is on board, so that they perhaps understand our thought process behind it. For me, it's moving the goalposts while we're playing the game, or changing the rules while we're playing the game. They saw what the ordinance was, and now we're manipulating the ordinance after the fact, if you understand what I'm saying.
That's what my
So I'm very happy with the fact that the existing ordinance, or the change to the ordinance, was voted down. So the existing ordinance will remain the same. And in the future, once we have onboarded this candidate, and maybe like 6 months down the road I'm talking about, come back and revisit language of it and see legally where we can go and then strengthen, or depending upon the employment contract that this individual has as well. Because there may be some things that we actually want to have all of the time, not just in that employment contract. We may see that when we get to that point. So I'm happy just letting it die.
So as you're saying, stay with the nay vote.
Stay with the nay vote and leave it where it is.
Okay.
Good point.
I think that'll help, that'll make us look a little bit more transparent to the new employee too.
Yes.
Well, I just want to give you a walk in a new village administrator's shoes. And that would be frankly one of the last things you want to touch. Coming in and being able to give the board advice on this when they are personally involved is really hard. So I just think that's a tough task to say to new village administrator, look at the ordinance that pertains to you and come in and give us your opinion on how it should change when it directly involves them. I just think that's a conflict, and it's complicated. And as a person who's in their orientation, honeymoon, I would be very concerned if I were given that assignment to be able to do that and effectively have a discussion with the board on it. Now is actually a good time. And as you approach the hiring decisions, you're going to have contractual decisions to make. So you're not changing the rules. You're actually just trying to firm up what are the circumstances and conditions. And you're going to get a contract, and you're going to get maybe counter proposal to hire that next person. So I guess I understand the thought process behind pushing off in 6 months. If it were any other item, I would say yes. But if it's involved in new administrator, that's a really tough assignment. I just want you to consider that. That's all I'm saying.
So we have a motion in front of us right now. Right, we do?
Yeah.
You do, it was made and seconded, so the motion is essentially a motion to reconsider and bring it back to do something else with it. So if there's a yes vote, then you would have further discussion about what that is, how you want to amend it and change it. If there's a no vote, then it goes back to what it already was, which was the no vote on the ordinance that was presented.
Okay, so now with the new motion in front of us, all those in favor, say aye.
Can you repeat the motion, please?
Okay, we're going to bring the ordinance amending chapter 2.18.02 to have open discussion with new language at a future date.
Well, I'll have the clerk take notes on how you have noted the wording of the
Yeah.
original motion.
I basically had it that it was gonna go back to staff for presentation of other options.
It was a motion to bring it back onto the table with the idea that there would be changes made to it. If that motion was successful, you all could then discuss what those changes would be. So if you want to bring it back to discuss further changes, you can do that. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. That's the position it's in right now.
Okay.
I'm
Amy?
sorry, I thought Lisa had asked for the motion to have the three.
That would be the next step.
Yeah, that would be the next
If this
step.
vote was successful, then
Come
the
back.
further
Okay.
discussion would be exactly what you were wanting to do, whether it was amend the text on the fly tonight, direct staff to bring it back in some other form. That's step 2. We're still on step 1, which is, are we actually going to bring this back or not?
Okay, does everybody understand the motion then? Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, that does not pass. So that leaves us back to the original ordinance now, correct?
Correct. The first motion that was before you failed, so the original motion, the original ordinance that's on the books has not been changed.
Okay. So we'll move on to ordinance amending chapter 11.20.025, private street banners, and increase barrier fee from $60 for up to 3 banner sites to $60 per banner site effective January 1st, 2026.
I
Point
think
of
you
order.
skipped number 1.
Yeah.
B1 is the recycling order.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ordinance amending chapter 8.21 recycling effective January 1st, 2026.
I make a motion to amend the ordinance chapter 8.21 recycling as presented.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Now we'll move on to ordinance amending chapter 11.20.025, private street banners, and increase the barrier fee from $60 up to 3 banner sites to $60 per banner site, effective January 1st, 2026. Need a motion and a second.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion. Yes.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding. Right now, a not-for-profit organization could request to have banners put up in any of those locations that are listed under A, and they would pay $60 for 3 banners. And we're going to go to change it now to be $60 per 1 banner.
Correct.
I think that's a lot for a nonprofit organization. I guess, do we have, can somebody give me an idea of, like, for example, Grafton Avenue, Washington Street, how many banners are we looking at? Sure, thank you.
The reason this came up is our banners are becoming more and more popular. So this year, we have banners hanging 45 weeks out of the year. Most nonprofits opt to use just the site on Highway 60 and County V. That's our high-profile site. Most nonprofits just use that site. We do have a number of, there are then nonprofits so that will use all 3 sites for that same $60 fee. The challenge is it costs DPW about $45 in labor to put up and take down a banner. So with charging $60, we're covering our costs. But once we start going to that second site, now the taxpayers are just kind of co-opting the nonprofit to pay for getting their banners up. So we came up in the budget process that no community around here has fees as low as we do for banners. For Washington, there's $50 a banner. And the Cedarburg banner site really is incomparable because that hangs over their main street and they're at like $250 to put a banner up there. So that was why we were looking at it. Nonprofits don't have to use all 3 sites if they don't want to. They still have the option of just paying the $60 and having 1 site, which is by far the popular option today.
Andy?
As far as the banners go, who makes the decision about, let's say there's 2 conflicting, or I shouldn't say conflicting, there are 2 nonprofits that want to put up a banner. Who makes the decision as to where that banner goes?
But they have the choice when they come in. They can
Okay,
pick
but
where
so is
they
it
want
first
to
come,
go.
first served? So if I-
Totally first come, first serve.
Okay. Thank you.
Amy?
So I've seen banners up for the chamber, like Fall into Grafton and
Yep.
stuff. Can you give me an example of other nonprofits that are putting banners up?
Grace Lutheran Church had one up for their craft sale.
One banner?
They did 3. Vineyard has used the banner site, I think 3 times this year. They just use 1 banner.
Okay.
The Booster Club uses 3. Oh boy, who else do we have? St. Joe's for their fish fry uses 1. The chamber often uses 1. Yeah,
Okay.
it's very.
And we're not talking about the banners on poles, we're talking about those.
The 3 feet by 11 or 3 feet by 18 feet banners. Yep.
What would you say is the ratio percentage of nonprofits versus for-profits that use the banner?
We do not allow any for-profits. It's
Okay.
all nonprofit.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Lisa?
Yeah, we did talk about this at Public Works, obviously, and there was, some discussion about that. My concern was also about the nonprofits who, sometimes have it really tough. It's tough in today's world to get donations. It's tough to get people to volunteer. I do understand that, our people have to go out there and put these up. They might, we might break even on 1 and then they have to go do 2 more. But I do worry about the nonprofits, and the extra exposure that they're getting on another banner could hopefully put them over the edge to make more money. So I'm still not sure about that.
The other way to look at it is there are several seasons to banners. Like right now, we are in a crazy busy banner season. And it would be possible that we would have 3 different organizations being able to put their nonprofit banner up. Like this week, I had 4 organizations that wanted the sites this week, but one organization took all 3. So that's the other way to look at it is if you raise the price and maybe a nonprofit is going to say, well, then we'll only do 1 site. Well, then that opens it that other nonprofits could use other sites at the same time.
How long do you let the banners fly?
The most a banner can stay up is 2 weeks. And so we allow 2 weeks for the $60.
Amy?
I just hate to go to this higher fee for a nonprofit because they're bringing business into our community, and the more people we can bring into Grafton, the better that we all profit from that. So I'm not in favor of charging that higher amount for a nonprofit.
Kevin?
Just want to ask, how often is a nonprofit using all 3 at once?
I would say 40% of the time.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. Sarah?
Trustee Luff, would you, is it just this price point is hard for you? Or, would there be a different price you would want to see this at? Or not at all, like not at all raised?
And right now, we're charging
40?
60 for all 3.
For all 3. I mean, I guess I would be in favor of if we had to do a $10 increase. I understand prices are going up, but I just really hate to charge any additional for the nonprofits.
Sure.
Lisa?
So how much is it if they're only gonna do 1 banner then?
$60.
Okay, 60 either way, 60 for 3 or 60 for
Yep.
1, and you're saying you would go 70 for 3? Is that what you're thinking?
Are you struggling with the fact that they want to now charge them individually? If a nonprofit wants to do 3 locations, now we're charging them individually for all 3, okay.
Yeah.
So then, and maybe, could there be a 2 for 3 instead of a 60 apiece? Something like that. I'm just trying to think of a way, because I agree that it's tough for nonprofits out there and, so, but I hear the duality of, now it's costing DPW if they put up more than 1, and so I'm just trying to figure out, throw spaghetti on the wall of what's the compromise, could we do a price of one banner for 60 or, 2 for 75 or whatever the case, whatever the math would come out to, 2 for 80 or.
How long does it take to put a banner up? I mean, I put banners up and it takes maybe 30 minutes.
2 guys, 30 minutes. Yep.
We're paying those employees to do it.
But it's taken away from doing other things.
Right. For sure.
So we have a motion though that says this, right? And that's what we really have to vote on.
Well,
Without it,
I mean, if someone wants to make a motion to amend what's before you, I mean, there's language in the ordinance that says the fee shall be set by DPW. So if someone wants to move to strike that language and instead say in the ordinance what the fee should be, that would be the action at this time for someone to amend the text that's before you.
Well, I'll make a motion then to strike the current motion that's on the agenda to read $70 for up to 3 banners.
I'd second that.
Okay, we have that motion. All those in favor? Or is there any other, so we need to,
So first is the
we need to
vote on
vote.
whether to amend it.
Yes, okay.
And then there's a second vote on whether to
Okay.
adopt that.
All those in favor of amending the ordinance from $60 to $75? So, right?
Did you say
I had
75?
70.
Or did you say 70? To $70, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
So it does pass 4-2. So now we need to vote on the $70, correct?
Correct, and just to be clear, the package that's before you, and just for, this is more for the clerk's benefit, was to change the ordinance to take out, right now, the ordinance says $50. The proposal that was before you was to take out $50 and just say the DPW director gets to decide and put it in the fee schedule every year. So it sounds like what the board wants to do, and what you've just done, is to
Change
not let
that
the
to
DPW decide, and you want to instead set it at 70. Because the proposal was to let the DPW director put it in the fee schedule and to increase it to 60 per banner site.
Okay, so that's what's on the table right now. Lisa, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, did you, Amy, you did say then that the DPW, the Director of Public Works, that would be taken out? And,
Yeah.
and your motion was, it would be $70 for up to 3 banners. If they had 2 banners, it would be $70. If they had 1 banner, it would be $60.
No, it's
Oh,
$70.
Okay, 70 for everything, okay, okay. I'm just trying to understand that, okay.
So now you need a new motion?
No, that is the motion now,
That is not
correct?
the motion.
That's,
That's what she voted.
yep. So that's before you to either approve or reject.
Okay, all those in favor of amending the ordinance 11.20.025, private street banners, and increase the banner fee from, or to $70 for up to 3 banner sites, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Passes 4-2. Okay, move on to ordinance amending chapters 11.20.040 and 11.20.050 related to street privilege permits effective January 1st, 2026. Need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion.
I don't have discussion, but I'd rather have a question.
Okay. Andy?
At what point in time do you require a bond? What would be in the street that would require a bond? Something that you think the weight would damage the street?
Yeah, we strongly urge people like not to dump stone and soil in the street, but if someone is going to get a permit to dump stone in the street, we would require a bond.
Do they actually get that permit to do that?
Typically.
How many, I mean, realistically, probably someplace like, for example, Stonewall Farms, where there's a continuous.
Oh, they
amount.
dump all the time and don't get permits there. Yeah, they dump all the time.
So it's, again, that's my question.
Right.
As far as enforcement, and then
Yeah,
what conditions trigger that bond?
if you're bringing in heavy equipment, we had a case where they did some work, I forget if it was on the bottle shop or something downtown, and they needed to bring in heavy equipment that was going to be going over the curb, they require a bond. If you're gonna put a dumpster in front of your house, we don't require a bond. So we look at what is the risk to the public infrastructure, and if there's a higher risk, then they need a bond.
Is the $2,000 bond is $2,000 the minimum? Or is just that it's a $2,000 bond and then turning around, for example, I need construction on my building downtown, we're gonna tear the facade off, so we need a dumpster, and we're gonna be running over the curb all day long, so you want a bond. And I have 60 feet of curb in front of my building. So you feel like, so the $2,000 bond is just an upfront charge in the event that you need to replace curbing when I'm all done or sidewalk. And then am I gonna get a bill, or is the $2,000 it?
Well, typically what we would say is that we're holding this bond, but if you damage that curb, you're responsible for having that curb replaced. If you turn that down and say, no, I'm not going to do that, then we start with the 2,000 and then we would bill above and beyond if you go over your 2,000 bond.
So if, in the end, if there's damage there, the $2,000 is just essentially an upfront payment or hopefully payment in full on what you're fixing?
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and bonds are much more prevalent on the other side of the business, like when you're building a home, right? You have to take out that same $2,000 bond, and that's where we see the bulk of our bonds.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor of the ordinance amending chapters 11.20.040 and 11.20050 related to street privilege permits effective January 1st, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that has passed. Okay, next, we're gonna approve the following fees for electronic and appliance recycling for non-residents. Large appliances, $15. Dehumidifiers and microwaves, $10. Large televisions, $25. Small televisions and monitors, $15. Effective January 1st, 2026. Linda, you wanna mention anything about those, or pretty self-explanatory?
It's pretty self-explanatory. Just to let you know, there are no communities in our area that offer electronics recycling except Grafton. And we spend probably about 35 hours a month dealing with electronics in DPW. And so there's always this thought of, we're spending a lot of time here, but honestly, it would break my heart to turn down non-residents and just say, well, do whatever you want with it, when we know it can't go in the trash. So we thought this was a good compromise, that it should be free for our residents, because it is free for DPW right now to get rid of them. That won't stay the case, but right now it is free. And so we don't want to pass along any costs that we're not incurring. But for non-residents, there should be some benefit of living in the village, and non-residents should have to pay something for their electronics.
Sarah?
First and foremost, thank you for providing this. I have used it multiple times, getting rid of old electronics in my house. Just a quick question, what's the difference between a small television and a large? Like, what do you got, what's the line, right? Of like,
According to the DNR, it's 40 inches.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It's 32 on our.
Oh, 3,200 sheet?
Gotcha. 32 inches or less is a small TV, and then
Correct.
beyond is low. Okay.
I'd like to make that motion. if
I'd second.
no one else has any.
Okay, any further discussion? Kevin?
I just want to make a comment that, yeah, this is a great thing that we're doing here in Grafton. I'm glad that we have this. The prices for non-residents, they are very much in line, if not lower than other places around the area. So this is still a great bargain for even non-residents.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that has passed. Approve the Public Works and Engineering Schedule of Fees effective January 1st, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
The only thing they have to change on there is the banner permit,
banner.
correct? Because we're putting that in the ordinance once more.
Right.
So then I'll amend my motion to say, approve the fee schedule, striking the banner permit fee from the schedule.
Do we need to a second on that? Or
Or whoever seconded.
who seconded it? There you-
I don't think anyone has seconded it.
I'll second
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion then? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
it.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passed. Okay, department and officers reports, village administrator.
Thank you. As you know, coming into this position, I moved the more detailed report to monthly. I think that works a little bit better in terms of the information we can provide and frankly, getting up to speed, which I think will be the case with the new administrator. But just one thing I wanted to mention, there's been some discussion outside of our board about the budget for the fire operations, OCFD. So we've been asked that question a number of times. I just wanted to share with you our response is that the board has acted on the budget request. It went to 4 communities. It was approved by 3, denied by 1. So that request of the OCFD did not succeed. There's been some, movement to have some other considerations, but for right now, it is up to the OCFD board on if it wishes to present a new proposal for the various partners to consider. There is language in the agreement that says, should there not be unity in terms of the budget, here's how then the budget gets handled, and it defaults to the previous year. And there's some other particular language in that regard. So that's the position we're at. Again, we've had news media, others ask where we are. The board reviewed this in September. You've approved your budget. We have no action to take in here, and it really is in the hands of the OCFD board on whether it wishes to reconsider their proposal to align better with the town of Grafton, who has been the only objector to the budget, or not. And if they decide not to, which I believe that meeting is Wednesday, then the language of the agreement will kick in and it has a determination of what the budget will be for the next year. So again, no action needed in that circumstance. So I just wanted to give some clarity in case you're hearing different thoughts and comments and wondering, is there anything going on from the board standpoint, the village board standpoint? It really is up to the fire board on what it wants to do in relationship with, in particular, the village or the town of Grafton and what they're looking to achieve. So happy to answer any questions on this, yes.
So the board will handle the fact that the town is not accepting their request. Does that mean our budget will then change and we will revert back to last year?
So let's look at the different scenarios. So let's just say either nothing happens with the OCFD board and it reverts back. You'll then have a secondary consideration of whether to take the budget that you've passed and leave it, which means you'll have a residual balance in that special revenue fund for the fire, which you'll carry over for the next fiscal year. Or do you want to adjust the special revenue fund for the fire downward to match what you're paying in, and thus the fund balance amount, you have 1.2 million in fund balance, that would drop. So that would be a subsequent consideration you would have in either circumstance, whether the OCFD board decides to amend their proposal and it's a lower amount and it goes to the communities and all 4 say yes, or if nothing happens. In both cases, you'll have that sort of accounting decision to make, where to, do you want to leave the residual funds in that special revenue fund, or do you want to match what the request was and lower the use of fund balance? And we're neutral on this at this point. Really just awaiting direction from this continued conversation that's happening, because as you know, the agreement requires that all 4 governmental entities approve the budget, and that's not what we have. That's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. Move on to report of bills. Approval of the village expenditures, $845,035.28. Paul had sent email with explanation of some questions. Anybody have any other questions that maybe can get answered? So I'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Approving of expenditures, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is passed. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dave, for running the meeting.
Yes, thanks, Dave.
Nice job, Dave.